Hello, everyone. It's official. Yesterday, Tuesday, April 27th, Pluto went retrograde in Capricorn for the next 6 months. Now, in astrology, we associate Pluto with power, authority, ego, and secrets. And when moving in the sign of Capricorn, Pluto brings themes like discipline, strategy, morals, business, wealth, and your ambitions too. So let's first understand a bit about Pluto. Pluto, though, was last discovered and seemingly the most complex of all planets, is also the most conscious and has a divinity like feeling. Astrologically, it is the only planet that is closest to your truth. It's associated with the process of breakdown and decay that an entity, item, or a situation goes through once it's outlived its utility. It's also a process that reduces it to its most component parts and then allows them to once again to take form and be reborn, like the mythical bird, the phoenix, which is said to rise from the ashes of its former body. Now, Pluto does represent both the intellectual and the emotional side of the individual. During the transitions, your soul remains attached to your inner core, signifying the transcendence of death and rebirth. So, if you actually realize that rapid breakdown and decay of the element plutonium, it transforms its basic matter into the energy of a nuclear explosion. So, in both its state and that of pure energy, the power of plutonium is frighteningly great. So, attempts at harnessing its power have created far more problems than they have solved. We still do not know how to deal with the nuclear waste. So, knowing that Pluto rules both the highest and the lowest makes me believe that the danger will balance out and lead to an equal benefit. We need to get away from the inherent philosophy that says there is only one absolute right way to think and act. This energy is not only at the base of what we call our conscious, but what some psychoanalysts call our superego. But it also gives rise to dictators, underworld crime, bosses, or other megalomaniacs. Now, this striving for absolute perfection is really a perversion of our striving for the perfection of the absolute. We need to only strive to be in connect with our spirit in order to take advantage of the energies of this dwarf potent planet. Remaining in connect with our soul always helps to decipher the correct from the incorrect. So you can reach your ideal goals comfortably and experience a Zen-like feeling while going through the journey of life. Now, the soul is always using the material world for what it is meant, for a place to learn, the fundamental principles that are at the heart of reality, and doing so, the soul transcends the material world and reaches the union with the spirit. Sun, which actually points towards our ego. Pluto helps us to get in sync with body, mind, and spirit, thus helping us to fulfill our ego's purpose. Now, Pluto mirrors the story of our lives, who finds his or her true nature only after descending into a deep, personal, inner conscious connect and meeting Pluto, the god of the underworld. It is by confronting his merciless judgment we actually emerge purified of our fears, anxieties, and guilt. So, when one comes to terms and is connected with one's soul, you realize the futility of living in perceptions. You do service to your own self by forgiving your past and becoming the person you always felt you were. So the energy of Pluto has two distinct expressions in an individual's natal chart. One is that of a charlatan, a con person archetype. It indicates the area of life where we experience profound changes so intense that we feel a transformation within. Sometimes the impulse to change is self-evident, as when the individuals leave us through death. Other times, though, the change is on an internal, emotional, or spiritual level, but not so obvious. Now, the second energetic expression of Pluto is that of a buffoon. The buffoon can be a naive, raw beginner setting out without much of a clue as to what can be discovered in life. Stepping off the edge of a cliff is a real possibility because cliffs represent the unknown. Now, the buffoon can also be a person who learns his lesson the hard way. Pluto signals the beginning of a new episode, but also ensures what has been learned in the past. So, like the other planets, Pluto is experienced on all levels of our being. Its power has a creative, almost ecstatic potential, and at the same time, there is a dark, terrible side to the energy. Now, the possibilities are felt on the physical level, on the mental level, on your spiritual level. Now, the possibilities on the physical level are like recklessness, like the buffoon mindlessly stepping off the edge, inability of regulating the application of power in a situation. Now, positive transformation happens when the right amount of force is applied. It's like taking the right amount of medicine for not only healing your injury, but also encouraging the body to strengthen itself and heal. So, on a mental level, obsessions and compulsions. What do we experience on a mental level? The obsessions and compulsion. Irresistible will allows obsessive thought to be carried into compulsive expression. So, all this can be good if only it is expressed in physical creative expression. On the other hand, if the obsession gets to only control people, it will actually lead you to emotional cohesion. The results are destructive, especially in relationships. Well, on an emotional level, resistance. Resistance, which is the power of Pluto, can generate within your personality. Pluto generates resistance within your personality. So when we experience mental resistance, we often think of it as an undesirable thing. Resistance can keep us from what we believe we want. Yet it also allows us to concentrate on one topic without distraction. So it is the highest also and it is the lowest also. So, on spiritual level, Pluto transmutes our beliefs in an instant or over a long period of awakening. Now, aspects of Pluto in the birth chart indicates how this powerful force is likely to be expressed in your life. The transcendent force is present and generally other energies affected and not the other way around. Now, this is because the faster moving planet forms an aspect and therefore comes to any situation with a message from Pluto. Pluto is a very, very slow moving planet. Now, as Pluto moves forward through time, however, the force it represents is felt by other planets in the birth chart. This transformative force cannot be held back. Thus, it is important to pay attention to our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual worlds as we go along in life. We should learn to experience joyfully the new that we have to embrace. This will bring in exuberance. We will not feel invulnerable, but but very sturdy and focused in every which way. Now, the keywords for Pluto are transformation, power, transcend, resurrect, purging, regenerating, ruthless, merciless, superego, obsession, breakdown, purify, eliminate, the death and rebirth. Now, there's a very powerful message, a very powerful astrological message by the planet Pluto. It says, if you continually purify your soul and your goals, working for the good of all, I will help you in every which way. By gaining control of yourself, you will gain control of your times. There is a warning too. If your goals become selfish, I will aid those who will bond together to pull you down. So, as far as your purely material goals are concerned, it will be as if you are powerless. So, yesterday, when the mysterious metaphysical Pluto shifted into its annual retrograde, it invites you to delve deeper into your inner chamber of secrets for the next 6 months. That is till October 6th, 2021. Now, since 2008, we have been experiencing the tumultuous transformations of big business, government upheavals, and the highs and lows of the economy. Now, the world has seen huge shifts in these arenas for better and for worse. And last year to date is certainly a proof of that. So, Pluto's tear it down, destroy, and then rebuild is actually in process. So, the retrogrades are always a welcome time. They're the welcome time out from the intensity of changes and offers us a chance to integrate and get introspective about our choices. On a personal level, we can re-evaluate what position and determination really mean. The message is loud and clear for the entire world. The human minds need to understand that it's not about hoarding stuff and competing for the most high profile lifestyle, but rather making meaningful choices that align with the rhythm of the nature. Retrograde of Pluto means abstain from power struggles and keep greed at bay. Your intuition may be off the radar or skewed. So, double checking credentials of people or situations will be a wise step. Pluto, which is actually known as the great revealer, it continues to retrograde in the stable early sign of Capricorn. Therefore, making this a time of major change in your life. The phoenix rises from the ashes and we are born again. So, the karma and destiny are the key themes now, keeping in mind that if you connect with your inner core and speak your truth, you can shape your destiny. You receive what you think you're worthy of, for only you can truly recognize your worth. Now, Pluto spends approximately 5 months per year in retrograde. There is also a shadow period commencing a few months before and after this time. So Pluto has an affinity with the feminine yin energy. So when she is retrograde, delusions and illusions may occur more often than usual. At times, people are hallucinating too. So logical thinking may be particularly difficult and judgmental. Your own judgment will not seem clear cut as usual. So this planet not only affects individually, but also to large collectives of people like countries, etc. That's why it's known as a generational planet, because it affects very potently to a particular generation. Now we transition, like when we transit to the other realities. Now, when Pluto retrograde may also bring up issues around fear of death or situations where the transition of death becomes more prevalent and real. We may experience different types of death: the death of a relationship, death of a career, or a children growing up and leaving home. We could actually feel isolated or alone and may also contemplate what is the final outcome of our life going to be. Now, death and transformation are no longer abstract concepts. They're real and touch us in some way. So, the number of deaths will increase dramatically during this time due to many governments mishandling the COVID-19 crisis. During this Pluto retrograde, the themes of control and abuse become more prevalent, along with the obsessive and compulsive behavior of the human beings who are refuse to be disciplined and want to be indisciplined. They get into some kind of an aggressive addiction. We suffer, we grieve, we transition to other realms and realities. Now, you could experience spiritual wounds that surface from the past which need to be understood and healed. Sometimes these things are inexplainable and they exist beyond words. We may actually come face to face with our own mortality. We may begin to get inklings of the past incarnations where strong beliefs and emotions were carried over to this lifetime. Well, we could experience extremes in emotion, including fears that we cannot explain or want to express. Writing down your apprehensions and perceptions helps a lot. Now, thinking that you're being manipulated and victimized are also potential themes of Pluto retrograde. You may be feeling like a victim in some way, but Pluto retrograde will eventually stir you in the right direction to find your truth. So go with your feelings, go with that gut intuition. You may not understand with your mind or with your heart at the moment, but if you trust the magical process of life, you will be redeemed and reborn a complete new person, the person that you are going to be proud of. It's very important to develop spiritual awareness this time because Pluto retrograde often carries us along on a wave of the unknown. However, it's also a great time for your spiritual development. Getting in touch with holistic ways of life like yoga, meditation, etc. Getting into your own space brings in a lot of self-awareness and happiness too. So all planetary retrogrades give us the opportunity to review, reflect, and reassess different areas of our life. We can do that now as we learn to accept the reality of the Pluto retrograde, its life, death, and rebirth. Take it metamorphically also. You live life by completely killing and pulling down the things that are of no longer use to you and then re-emerging and taking your birth again as a fresh new human being, starting life afresh. This is not a time to fear, but embracing the inevitable change. Stay tuned for my upcoming videos of how Pluto retrograde affects the different houses. Meanwhile, check out from your natal chart as to which house of yours in your natal chart is affected by this mysterious planet. Write down your observations. With the retrograde of this planet, you may actually find your key, which unlocks the door of your inner core and answers the many questions that you've been delving on. As always, stay blessed.